Well, hello there. As you can tell, there's been a bit of a theme on the channel recently, and that theme is DC Comics. I've always been a big fan of DC Comics, and now that their cinematic universe is really picking up steam, it's a great time to be a DC Comics fan. I don't really care what the critics say. I think you should always form your own opinion. Right now, we have two things right here, two DC things. Opposite ends of the spectrum, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, and of course the recently released Batman The Killing Joke. So we got a theatrical movie and an animated movie. I guess we'll start with this one, even though I've talked about this a lot. This is the Ultimate Edition in a nice steelbook. You can see Batman there on the cover, and it's kind of like a poster that's been ripped off with the Superman logo, so I suppose it's kind of a protest against Batman. But there's a cool thing here too. This steelbook flips over, like so. So if you're not Team Batman, you can just flip it over and you've got Superman there. Quite nicely done. I don't know, I think this artwork is okay. I mean, it's not like the coolest steelbook in the universe, but I like this sort of flip over artwork. You can just kind of, if you're feeling like it's a Batman day, then you can flip over to Batman, or if it's a Superman day, you flip over to Superman. So nicely done there. There's the spine, nothing too special about that. That's what you get on the inside, and here's a digital copy. You may have to live in Sweden, or at least Scandinavia, to use this one, but I'm giving this away to you guys. See that? Okay, hope that works. So this is what you see on the inside, and you've got two discs here. Now it's worth noting that the first disc says Ultimate Edition. That's just the Ultimate Edition of the movie, nothing else. And the other one does not. This contains the theatrical cut, which is 2.5 hours long, and all the bonus features as well. And on the inside you've got the Superman and Batman logos. Nothing too remarkable, not like the coolest steelbook in the world, but I do like that you can sort of choose your own cover, so to speak. We'll also have a look at this one, which came with the movie. The battle intensifies in the Ultimate Edition with 30 more minutes not seen in theaters. Got the plot there. Includes over 2 hours of extras, including uniting the world's finest, glimpse the future of DC's bold new cinematic superheroes, Gods and Men, a meeting of giants, justice meets vengeance when the two iconics clash on screen for the first time ever, The Warrior, the Myth, the Wonder, explore the origin, evolution, and impact of the Amazonian Wonder Woman, accelerating design, the new Batmobile, hit the road hard with Batman's newest high-performance ride, and more. And as you can see here, this one also contains Dolby Atmos sound, which is really picking up steam. It's a new sound format that's becoming ever more popular. It's said to be like surround on steroids. It can really, really immerse you with tons of channels all around your living room. But I can't play that, unfortunately, and I think most people still can't. But that's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about the Ultimate Edition. I've already seen the Ultimate Edition once, and I'm excited to see it again. I think, look, this movie's flawed, and you can tell that the critics didn't love it. The fans liked it more than the critics, but it was still a flawed movie. There weren't a lot of people who went out and just said, okay, this movie's perfect. There's obviously a lot going on with it. But I kind of feel like with all Zack Snyder movies, at least this is my personal opinion, with all Zack Snyder movies, you have to take them in a couple of times. You need to see them a few times. And when I saw the Ultimate Cut, it's definitely an improvement over the theatrical version. There's a lot of things that flow much better. And there are major plot points that have been explained in the Ultimate Cut, which is just crazy to me. There are such huge revelations in this that they didn't explain, that were just cut out. And it's like, it doesn't make sense without those things, and now it actually makes sense. So in my opinion, if I'm going to keep it brief, I could talk about this for weeks on end, and I might do future videos about it, but if I'm going to keep it brief, I will say that Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, is a better version of a Zack Snyder movie. If you don't like the movie at all, if you don't like the Zack Snyder movie for what it is, if you don't like the tone or the style or the approach, then obviously half an hour more of that isn't really gonna win you over too much. But if you appreciated something about the movie, if you like the theatrical cut, but you realize that, okay, it's kind of flawed, then you should definitely give the ultimate cut a viewing. I'd say that now it's more like watching two movies, two 90-minute movies. The first half, the first 90 minutes, is now essentially a full-blown conspiracy thriller. They are trying to demonize Superman, and Batman is already a demon. That's essentially what the first half is all about. And then the second half is basically action. All the action comes around in the second half. So it's still unbalanced. It still has a lot of issues, but I still think that, like, if you enjoy this movie, watch it a couple of times, really take it in and think it over. And if it still doesn't agree with you, then it's never going to agree with you. It's just that kind of movie. It's maybe not the movie that everyone wanted, but I still feel like there's a lot about Zack Snyder's movies that you just can't take in at first because there's so much going on. Which is kind of the problem with the movie too. He tries to please everyone and he tries to include so much stuff that it can just kind of be overbearing. So I enjoy Batman vs Superman. I particularly like the ultimate cut, even though it's 3 hours and jam-packed and has a lot of stuff to take in. I don't love it. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it is pretty entertaining and it does touch on some pretty deep thematic material. But I could go into that in detail in another video. So yeah, that's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. That's the Steelbook edition. And now we'll have a look at The Killing Joke. Here we are. This is the Savvy.com exclusive Steelbook of The Killing Joke. This is, of course, based on a classic, or should I say historic, graphic novel by Alan Moore. And this is a DC Universe animated original movie. If you're familiar with the DC Universe, you'll know that they've made these animated movies for a long time, for many, many years now, and this is nothing new. It's part of an ongoing series, and that series is called, as it says, the DC Universe Animated Originals. This is rated R, but again, that's nothing new. I think the Flashpoint Paradox was also rated R, but, you know, it does say 15 here on the cover. Oh, I think these are actually stickers. Nice. You can actually peel these away. That's wonderful. Amazing. But just be warned that this contains some graphic content and it's definitely not an animated movie for children. So this is the infamous Killing Joke graphic novel. They've adapted the main parts of the graphic novel, which is sort of the main part of the film. But there is also a new prologue with Batgirl. And a lot of fans have said that they didn't like the prologue in particular, but I see why it's there. When you read graphic novels, or if you're a big DC fan, of course we all know who Batgirl is. We know who Barbara Gordon is. But if you are going into this movie and you never picked up a graphic novel, you don't know essentially who, you might not know who Batgirl is or who Barbara Gordon is or what the stakes are going into this thing. So that's why I think it was actually kind of a clever move to include that prologue. But the thing about the prologue is it doesn't have the same specific storytelling style that the rest of the movie has, and that can be kind of jarring for me. So I don't hate it. I see why it's there, and I actually think it works. You know, it doesn't just pad out the runtime, which I see why they do that, but it also gives Barbara an arc, and she needs some humanity in an arc so it doesn't get too dark, because this is a very dark and gruesome psychological story in a lot of ways, and it threatens to get a little bit too dark sometimes. So I see why they did that, but some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to be okay with it. I'm okay with it, but it is a little bit jarring. Like you can kind of tell that it's kind of like watching two different movies essentially, but it's okay. I don't hate it. The real key here is, of course, the part that is based on the graphic novel itself. And you've got these two legends coming back, Kevin Conroy voicing Batman and Mark Hamill voicing the Joker. And they do an excellent job as always. Mark Hamill really gets to have fun with this one. And it was just a real delight to hear his voice say all these lines and even sing a little demented song in this one. I thought it was very well made. The score is fantastic. There's kind of a Bernard Herrmann homage going on here, and they really do a great job. So I think as a whole, this was a very, I hesitate to use the word fun, but it was great to watch this one. It was a very well-made animated movie overall. The animation style is, they've sort of taken keyframes from the graphic novel, but they haven't quite captured the same style, and I understand why. I mean, it's an adaptation. You can't just lift it straight off the page and animate it. It doesn't quite work like that, but I think they did a good job overall. I mean, I'd put it like this. This is a compliment and a complement to the graphic novel. It's not the graphic novel. It's never gonna be the graphic novel. Same thing when you make a live-action movie based on a book. You know, it's never gonna be the same thing. It's not literally the same thing. It's a very different medium, but I still think that they've done a really good job. And to be honest, I quite enjoy this. I don't think it's flawless. I don't think it's perfect. I probably still like Year One a little better as an animated movie, and that's one I highly recommend as well. But I still think this was very good overall. I didn't have any like major issues with it. So I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10, or at least a 7.5 out of 10 for sure. So it's not like a, you know, horrible mess or anything like that, but it is a little different. So just go in expecting that. Isn't this artwork amazing, by the way? Love this. And there's the front, the classic graphic novel cover. Love how they've done this, very nicely handled. And here's some information about what is included. Special features: Batman the Killing Joke, The Many Shades of the Joker featurette, Madness at the Music from the DC Comics Vault. You've got 2 bonus cartoons. 1 episode of Batman the Animated Series, and another one of a newer incarnation of Batman the Animated Series. Very nice. Plus a sneak peek at DC Universe's next animated movie, and a lot of trailers. Trailers for Suicide Squad, trailers for Batman vs. Superman, etc. So there were also not just moments, tributes to Bernard Herrmann and his score and things of that nature, but there was also a lot of little in-nods to the movie incarnations of Batman and the Joker. There were 2 scenes. There was a line from Batman Begins, verbatim. I'm not going to tell you which one, but it's there. And there was a scene where Batman was sitting on his computer, and if you freeze frame, you see a lot of different photos of the Joker. And I think all of those photos were based on different incarnations of the Joker. So I think I even saw sort of a Heath Ledger tribute in there, if you're looking very carefully. Here's the digital copy code for this one. Again, I'm going to give it away because I never use these. So go to warnerbrothers.co.uk/redeem. and enter this code. Alright. See that one? And of course you've got this flyer for Suicide Squad, which I have reviewed and I just loved. Loved this movie. I thought it was awesome. Can't wait to go see it again. I'm going to go see it again very shortly. And yes, in case you're wondering, I've already pre-ordered the Steelbook for this one. And continue your journey into the DC Universe, of course. Assault on Arkham is also a Suicide Squad story, so that might be a good way to start if you're not familiar with them. Gotham: Rise of the Villains, Batman vs. Superman, and the new Batman Return to Arkham, which is a remastered version of the first 2 video games in the Arkham series, I think. And here's what's on the inside. There you go. Very nicely done. I still highly recommend checking this one out, and I'd love to see this movie with someone who has no idea what the Killing Joke is, what it means, who's in it, or, you know, who's not comic book savvy at all. I think it would be a really interesting sort of psychological experiment to see how they'd react to the movie, because it does get very dark and it does get very disturbing, honestly, and I think that's why DC is so interesting. I think that's why they've got this allure that Marvel can never quite capture. Even though Marvel can do amazing things in their own right, I don't think they can quite do something like The Killing Joke. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe I'm totally full of it, but yeah. By the way, I want to mention that the Joker on the cover here is actually glossy. As you can see, it picks up the light there. But the rest of it is not. It's matte. It's just the Joker, so he kind of stands out a little bit there. Love the artwork, very nicely done. Alright, that was basically it for this time. A look at Batman the Killing Joke and Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, these brand new Steelbook editions. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon. I'm also hard at work making a complete Blu-ray collection video for you guys. It's actually going to be a 4-parter, and I'm very excited about it. It's going to be really good, I think. So stay tuned for part 1. It might be out in like, I hope it's out within a month at least, in a couple of weeks, I think. So, alright, hope you like this one. Bye.